The Caribbean people are hardworking and honest, and that was wonderful. He told me that after 2 years of hard, successful work on a HUD, Housing Urban Development contract, and I tell young people, people judge your region of the world and they judge your nation, your country, by the people they meet. You know, so if they meet people who are honest and hardworking, then that's the brand they will ascribe to you. And if you're not, then they won't. So we're really happy to every day where we can to promote Caribbean interest and promote Caribbean people where they're doing their best, where they're excelling in the sciences, in arts, in industry, in productivity, and in particular where they also have not forgotten where they come from and can somehow find a way to engage their home country in some productive endeavor. Because the ethnic groups in America that again have done well are those that have a link to their home countries, and they are therefore conveyor belts for transfer of technology, managerial know-how, philanthropy, remittances, and so that's a healthy thing. And you can help the United States to be prosperous, and by doing that you help yourself, and you also can help your communities that you are from or you came from. And so it's with that in mind that we continue to forge on and to do the best we can. We're right here in Maryland, and then that's Cuba, the Bahamas, Jamaica, Hispaniola. A third on the left is Haiti, 2/3 on the right, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, Nevis and Kitts, Antigua, Guadeloupe. Dominica is right here. That's where we were born. Myself and Mr. Christian were born right here. And you've got Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados over to the right, St. Vincent, Grenada, Trinidad right next to Venezuela, and then of course Guyana is over here. So that's all Caribbean. Second Lieutenant Leroy Battle. He died on April 19th of this year. He was one of the last flyers from the Tuskegee Airmen from World War II. He was a friend of ours. He was a member of the Tuskegee Airmen Association, East Coast chapter, and I'm happy to have known him. And this is Louis Pennell, who was a captain of the Tuskegee Airmen. This is signed by him. This is his P-51 Mustang. I didn't know Captain Pennell, but we bought this at Gettysburg National Battlefield in Pennsylvania in the 1990s. This is one of my clients, a Marine, Lidis Nelson, who we did represent successfully in a very serious case and saved his life essentially. And here is the official patches of the 332nd Fighter Group, which is made up of 4 squadrons. The 99th Fighter Squadron that was led at one point by Colonel Benjamin Davis, the 101st Fighter Squadron, the 102nd Fighter Squadron, the 302nd Fighter Squadron. And I bought that at Tuskegee University. Over here on this wall is a gift from the Trinidad and Tobago Air Guard. They were very involved in the relief effort. They brought Prime Minister Skerritt back to Dominica after the storm. It's one of the few English-speaking islands with an air service, military air service. And this was given to me by Group Captain Tyrone Rodolfo, who was the commander at that time. And over here on the right is the cadets of the Dominican Cadet Corps. These are from these kids are from the Dominican Grammar School. They got the uniforms the night before. And they're outside the State House where where Prime Minister Rosie Douglas rather is lying in state. And I'd come down for the farewell, and I'm telling them about my time as a cadet, and they're listening attentively. This young lady here is now a lawyer in London, and many of them have gone on to do great things. I don't have info on all the rest of them, but they've gone on to do great things. And you can see right below there, they've got below the tunics, they've put the tunics over their school shirt and their grammar school tie. That's in my day we'd given up the tie, but they brought the tie back later in the 1980s, I believe. Over here are the awards for different interns in the program called In the Spirit of Thurgood Marshall. As you know, Thurgood Marshall was the first African American to become a justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, and we are continuing in his spirit by opening doors of opportunity in law to those youngsters who might be interested in that career. I want to point to the bottom here where we have 2 very important graduates of that program. Clifford Bush III is now a municipal judge. He's the chief municipal judge in Beaufort, South Carolina. He's a U.S. Army major in the Georgia Advocate General Corps, as well as practicing attorney. He was here with us in 98, 99. And below here, in 97, we had Tiffany Hanna, who is now the Chief Judge of the District Court of Maryland for Prince George's County. She was with us in 97. So we've got quite a few people who've gone on to do great things. And that's from the Prince George's County School Board for Working Education in 1994, the Doctor Lawyer Program, where we went to mentor kids and try to keep them out of trouble by teaching them about the downsides of engaging in drugs. And the doctors talked about the downsides of engaging in drugs from the medical perspective. And over here we have kids from Duval High School and United States Air Force Senior Master Sergeant Patricia St. Hill, who's the aerospace science instructor at Duval. And these cadets were at the final farewell to Gabriel Christian, my father, our father, who passed away in 2011. Yeah, so we keep doing our best to make a positive difference. Of course, over here you've got Thurgood Marshall, who was the, as I said, the U.S. Supreme Court judge, and who continues to inspire. So when you walk in, Thurgood Marshall is the first person, well, not the first person you see the front desk, but someone who you immediately sees on a wall and reflects our character and our orientation, which is the greater freedom. Of course, with that freedom comes responsibility and trying to build a great society. So this here is interesting. It's made of aluminum. It was given to us by our Jewish American friends, the Mindeks. They thought, knowing me and how I think, they thought it would be something I'd appreciate, and they were very, very correct. So Dr. King, I remember when Dr. King was killed. I mean, not that I was there, I was on the island in elementary school, and I remember everybody was very sad that day, and we said a prayer for him. That was in 1968. I would have been about 7 years old, and I was very happy to have been at the 20th anniversary of the March on Washington in 1983, where his wife, his widow, Coretta spoke, and Jesse Jackson and Minister Farrakhan and others, and that was a march that really, there were about 250,000 people that really pushed the idea of Martin Luther King's birthday as a holiday. And too many people take it just to go to the shop and buy things. I think we have to do what we try to do best, which is community service. Use it to teach, use it to clean up the community, use it to do a lecture, something meaningful to honor his memory, because he gave his life, like Abraham Lincoln, for our freedom and to make America a better country and a leader in the world in freedom. And so we are very proud of him, and we think of him every day, and we try to understand how here is a guy with a PhD in a very wealthy family, vis-a-vis others in the African American community. They were well known. His father was a pastor and wealthy in that sense of being a person of great stature. And he could have just held on to that and gone quiet, but he gave all his wealth and time and life to the struggle for freedom, and we're proud of him, and we honor him here in our office, and every day we go out there and we fight for justice. We do so with Abraham Lincoln on one side in spirit, and Martin Luther King on one side in spirit, and of course Thurgood Marshall behind us, and with that trio, I think we've been able to succeed. We're not doing it simply for ourselves or for a fee, but because we sincerely believe that those men, Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, Thurgood Marshall, and of course Thomas A. Farrington, who was the first, I think, white lawyer in the history of Prince George's County to join the Prince George's County NAACP, and who offered me an opportunity to work with him as a lawyer, of course through his partner John Smallwood. We're always happy for those spiritual guides that work with us every day to let freedom ring. So God bless him, and God bless those who work in the spirit of those great leaders. Thank you. It was not transistor, it was vacuum tube technology. So when you turned it on, you would see the vacuum tubes glowing, and then the noise, the music or whatever sound would come on. And so we were very big on radio. We had no TV until '74. We were the first in Orleans to have a TV, an RCA from New York. Our aunt sent for us. So I grew up with a radio like this. This is an RCA model 1940. The Grundig was like this, but the Grundig was made of wood as well. So these are from the National Capital Radio and Television Museum, which is here in Bowie. It's a fascinating museum, and this is our exhibit. We're members of the museum, and we are very strong on science and technology. And basically this talks about the history. It says, Guglielmo Marconi, an Italian inventor, proved the feasibility of radio communication. He sent and received his first radio signal in Italy rather, in 1895. And Nikola Tesla is considered the first person to patent radio technology. And Lee de Forest invented space telegraphy and was the first person to use the word radio. So before that, it was called space telegraphy because telegraph was along wires. But when you started to do radio waves, no wires, they call it space telegraphy. And then radio came after that. De Forest's work was the invention of amplitude modulated or AM radio, and that allowed for multiple radio stations to be played. And Edwin Howard Armstrong invented frequency modulated or FM radio in 1933. But all these radios are AM, and really FM radios didn't really come up until about 62. So these boxes are made of wood. This is a Philco model 3835 from 1938. It only has an AM dial. This is a RCA model 1940. So this is during the war had started in Europe. It started in the United States in 41. This is also all wood. And the knobs here are made of a pre-plastic substance called backlight. And this here is made not of wood but of backlight, and also the knobs are made of backlight. And this is also AM. So we encourage students to go to the museum because it shows you how American technology developed from radio to television, and of course we have computers and all these things. And so when our clients come to do the cases, we not only have them sitting looking at Newsweek and Time magazine, but we also can give them an education. They can go through the each of the radios have a history and a manual. They're all in working condition. They've been reconditioned, and they can sit there, and then we also give them brochures so they can visit the museum down the street. So we're proud members of the National Capital Area Radio and Television Museum, not to just do law in a narrow sense, but to use the law practice as a catalyst for education in our communities. In particular, a focus on the science and technology aspect of education, because we are in the 21st century, and it's very important for us to have a competence in science and technology.